good afternoon, good evening, good morning. How are you? How was your week? How are you keeping on? I am well. The Lord has kept me. It's been an amazing week. This far, the Lord has been good. So, I'm excited to have you here today. If you're new here, please subscribe, please share, please comment. Send this to someone. Keep telling me what you want to see. I intend to keep doing this as the Lord helps me. I'm about to get into a very interesting conversation. So grab your seat, grab your cup of tea, your cup of coffee. We need to talk. I did not intend to have this conversation until my husband could come on the podcast, because there are things I don't want to have on my own, mainly because I feel like if we have it, the both of us, it will be more wholesome. However, I thought, well, the last 3 weeks we've had very deep, touching conversations, and I thought, let's break the ice. Let's have something lighter. Let's have a bit of fun. So I'm going to have my perspective of this, and then when he comes in, we are going to have his perspective and maybe our perspective of it together. I think he will do a better job than I do because he's funny, he's chatty, he's the better version of me. You can tell I love my husband. I am blessed. I'm such a blessed girl. He spoils me. So I really cannot wait to do this with him. However, I'm going to kind of do an introduction of this, and then we're going to go on from there. So I want to talk about long distance dating, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because my husband and I have mainly dated long distance, and then we got married, and now we are having a long distance marriage. However, we are working on bridging the gap, because long distance should not be a destination, is supposed to be a season. So we are hoping to bring the season over quite soon. However, as we are working on it, I've been reflecting, especially this last week. I felt like the last week, I really found myself thinking about our long distance dating and our marriage. I kept thinking, would I tell someone it's worth it or not? We've had people ask of our opinion. So I thought, yeah, why not just have a conversation around it? Why not put my thoughts out there? Why not share what I've learned over time with you? Because if anything will test you, it is long distance dating. Oh my goodness. It will test everything in you. Every bit of you will be tested. Everything you know about love, dating, relationships will be tested. And it's been such an interesting and learning curve for me. A bit of a background story. My husband and I met in 2022. That's my version of it. His version is different, because apparently he did see me earlier than that. That's why I'm telling you, you need to hear his bit of the story. It's such a hilarious story. So my version is that we met in 2022. By the time we met, or rather by the time he became like a proper friend, I was already planning to leave Kenya for the UK. I had just begun my process, because we met early 2022. I had just made up my mind, I'm going to go to the UK. It's time for me to do my master's. So I had begun the application process into the unis. I hadn't gotten an offer letter yet, but I had begun applying to universities in the UK. So by the time he comes into my life and he says, "Hey girl, I'm digging you, and I'd like to make you my wife." He was very audacious, by the way. He did not mince his words. He did not play games. He didn't come to play. He was very audacious. He hit things on the head, and he said, "I want to make you my wife." I was like, "Dang, God, that is bold." That is bold. So yeah, we became friends, because I couldn't say yes then. I did not say yes. Because in my mind, I was thinking, I'm about to leave the country. I'm about to be 8,000 miles away from you. I'm about to be a whole 8 hours away from you. How does that even work? There was no way that was going to work in my head. So I was like, oh yeah, you know what? Let's see. Also, I was in a situationship. We are going to call it as it was. I'm not going to. I told you I'm going to be honest and vulnerable. It wasn't a relationship. It was a situationship. So I was very jumbled up in terms of my emotions, in terms of what's going on around my life. So I said, I like that you're bold, but can we hold it a bit? Can we just put the brakes on this? But he was very intentional. Most people would disappear. Most people would go, because I was very honest. I actually told him, there is someone else. I did say that to him. I said, there's someone else in my life right now. I don't know what it is, but there's someone else in my life right now. I'm leaving the country in a couple of months. So I'm not quite sure what life looks like right now. But he did not stop. And he was very intentional. He did not stop pursuing, which is very commendable. I think that's the one thing about my husband I will always love, that he fought for me with everything he had. So long story short, I go to the UK, and 3 months into my being in the UK, I'm like, okay, he's serious. So I say yes. But I said, so that means I said yes to a proper relationship. We had been very close. I think to some level we were dating, but not dating, because we were spending a lot of time together. Even before I left the country, we were spending a lot of time together. We were going out for coffee. My family had seen him. I don't think his family had seen me at some point, but my family had seen him, because the way I was raised, if you start coming into my space, you will meet my parents. I don't tell them what's going on. I don't say this is my boyfriend. I just say this is my friend. But if you come into my life, and I think that's for my siblings, the way we are raised is that if you come into our lives, yeah, we will introduce our friends to our parents. So when he came into my life, I told him, hey, come home. Even the night I was leaving, like the night I was going to the airport, he was in my house. Because he helped me do my shopping a lot. So my parents had seen him with me. They didn't know what's going on, but they had seen him with me. And I didn't say anything, so they didn't assume anything, because they had seen me with a lot of friends. And I kept quite a number of male friends. So my parents have never assumed, because a guy is around me, they're dating me. So I leave the country, and 3 months into it, I called my mom and I'm like, hi, mom. I think I met the guy, and I think he's the one. And I think it's about time you start thinking about being a mother-in-law. Like, I actually broke it to my mom there. Like, it was she was very confused. She was extremely confused. So she was like, is he white? I'm like, no. Okay. So where is he? In Kenya. What do you mean he's in Kenya? So I was like, do you remember that guy? And like, no, that makes sense now. So, yeah, so we started dating. And we knew, to some level, we knew this was going to end up in marriage. We both knew this was going to end up in marriage, because we'd been friends. We'd spent a lot of time together. We knew we didn't want to play games. We both knew we are not playing games. So we started dating. Now, what we didn't know was that dating long distance, as much as it's dating, has its own different dynamic. First, my husband and I are polar opposites. We have almost nothing in common. The only thing we have in common is that we were both raised in Christian families, and we come from functional homes. Both our families, our parents have very good marriages. I think that's the only thing we have in common. So we are polar opposites. Our way of life, our way of processing life, our way of looking at life was extremely different. Our levels of exposure, we were extremely, extremely different. Now, when you date long distance, it exposes those things. Long distance exposes your differences. It puts them under a microscope and magnifies them. So what happened is that we found ourselves because we had to talk to each other. So now we're in this place where we're not seeing each other as much as we would like to. So the only way to stay connected is to have phone conversations. I don't like phone calls. I like texting. He doesn't like texting. He likes phone calls. I am introverted. He's an extrovert. So you imagine those two people trying to marry those things. Me, after a long day in uni where I have been overstimulated, I want to come home to silence. I just want to have my own space and time. Him, the way he decompresses from his day is by telling me every single bit of what happened in his day. And marrying those things will test everything in you. The other thing is, because we had to keep conversations going, because now this is the only way we can bond. The only way we can bond is conversations. So we started having very hard conversations very quickly into our relationship. That was a good and a bad thing. I wouldn't advise anybody to do that. It was a good thing because we were able to bond and understand each other very quickly. We were also able to understand a lot about each other very quickly. The bad thing is that our relationship was very young. It was very, we were still tiptoeing around each other. So now, anytime we didn't agree, and I told you we are polar opposites, which means our way of viewing life was very different. So the way I view raising children is not the way he viewed raising children. The way I view finances is not the way he viewed finances. The way I viewed what's important in terms of priorities was not the way he viewed what's important. We were very different. So now we would find that a simple conversation that we started would end up in a huge fight. A simple conversation on us raising children would end up as a huge fight. Eventually, we learned that we didn't have to figure out everything at a go. We learned that we didn't have to make every decision at that point. And we learned that things keep aligning as we go. So like the way, when we started dating, when we talked about our wedding, we would fight. But even at that point, we hadn't even done the Kuhadaidege, we hadn't done the Rurashio, we hadn't even properly introduced ourselves to each other's parents. So as much as we knew we want to get married, we hadn't even begun the process. But we were already fighting about the process. So what we learned that we don't have to make those decisions then. So when we made up, because we had to make up at some point to keep dating, we started learning that, yes, we can disagree. Yes, we have a different perspective, but we don't have to decide about everything in one conversation. And things aligned. By the time we were coming to do our wedding, some of the things we fought about at the beginning of our dating about a wedding didn't matter. In fact, they were non-consequential. We looked back, I think, after our wedding, and we were just talking when we were on our honeymoon. We were just talking and we were like, do you remember us fighting about this and this? And we laughed. We laughed at each other that we ever had that fight. Because by the time we were coming to do our wedding, those things didn't even matter. But we were just trying to find our footing. We just went in hard so quickly that we ended up having fights we didn't have to have. That wasn't entirely a bad thing. And it wasn't entirely a bad thing because we learned how we solve conflict. My way of solving conflict is, let's talk about this. His way, okay, actually not his, was. His way of solving conflict was, I don't talk about this. And so I would be like, we need to talk about this. He'd be like, I don't want to talk about this. So again, the trying to solve conflict will become a conflict. We've unlearned that over time. We've learned different ways of solving conflict. That's a whole different conversation. But I'm trying to paint a picture that we were very different, and distance put a light on that. It magnified our differences. It magnified how different we were. The second thing is that now the phrase that love is not a feeling, it's a choice, really comes to perspective when you date long distance. Because it's not every day, especially when you don't see them. You see, when you see someone, when you have dates every so often, and so they dress up for dates, so you see them looking nice and cute, and then you go out and they hold your hand and you go for that movie and you sit down across the table and laugh with each other, and they tell you how beautiful your smile is and how nicely you laugh. That keeps the spark going. In a long distance relationship, you see each other at the end of the day. That is, if you even do a video call. If you don't do a video call, it's a video call. It's going to be at the end of the day when you're both tired in your pajamas. You're not trying to look cute. You're not trying to flatter each other. You're not trying to impress each other. Like, you're just trying to have a conversation at the end of the day. You're tired. It's been a long day. So there's nothing cute about this situation. Of course, we had our cute moments. And my husband kept saying, I'm the most beautiful woman. He has a way of just saying the right things. But I know sometimes he saw me, in my worst state, to be honest. So, I mean, I know he was just trying to be a good boyfriend. He was just trying to be a good fiancé. But what I'm trying to say is that for you to keep the spark going, there's an extra level of intentionality that is going to be required if you date long distance. There's a level of intentionality you need to keep appreciating your partner when they're away from you, to keep loving them when you can't see them. And actually, because just because you're dating does not mean you don't get attention, doesn't mean they don't get attention. We both had people trying to get access to us as we were dating. I think he more than I, to be honest. But we all had people who are trying to get our attention when we were dating. And it's easier because they are there. They are right where you are. So you need to have some level of intentionality when it comes to loving each other. It means love stops being a feeling and starts being a choice. So it's you choosing each other every day. And that's what we kept telling each other with my husband, that every day we wake up and we choose each other again and again and again. You need to start choosing your partner again and again and again. And we did not stop. He didn't stop telling me how beautiful I am, even when I knew I'm not looking beautiful on this call. Or rather, I'm always looking cute though. But you know what I mean. We have days when you're like, today is that day. I feel really cute today. And we have those days when you're like, I know I am pretty, but this is not my best look. Yeah. So we had to keep choosing each other every day. Every day choose each other, even when we didn't feel it. Even when we were fighting, we had to keep choosing each other over and over again. Even when we realized, oh my God, they are not as nice as I thought they were. Oh my God, I don't think I like this about them. We still had to keep choosing each other. So we didn't just feel. And that doesn't mean we didn't have days when we were all over, we were all in love and we felt like goosebumps and stuff like that about each other. We had lots of those days. We still, that you need that to keep you alive. However, we were very aware and we kept saying it to each other that this situation demands us to go beyond how we feel, and we need to be able to choose each other every single day, over and over and over again. We must keep choosing each other. Number 3, trust. Hey, I just told you, both of us had people trying to get our attention as we were dating. And how we navigated trust, because trust is not just about long distance. Any relationship cannot survive without trust. Trust is the fuel of every relationship. However, it's harder, or rather it's easier to break when you do not have your partner monitoring you. When you can be funny and they will never know. And we had to be very intentional to tell each other what's going on without the other person asking. So if someone came to him and made a pass on him, we would have a nice evening that day. We would laugh. We would have a good laugh that day. If someone made a pass at me, we would have a good laugh about it that day. And we didn't wait for the other person to ask. We told each other. So I know hilarious stories about girls trying everything to get to his house. He knows hilarious stories about guys trying to get my attention. We know, like, if you come up today and tell my husband something that happened when I was in the UK, he knows. If you come and tell me something that happened in our dating space in Kenya, I know. So there was going to be no surprises. We were not going to leave a room for someone saying, hey, by the way, yesterday I was out with your husband. Or yesterday, by the way, your husband gave me a lift. There was never going to be that room. There was never going to be space for someone else to tell the other person something that they didn't know. So because we were upfront about these things, it means that to some level we kept each other accountable. So if I told him this guy has been making a pass at me and I was spending time with that guy, more time with that guy than I should have, he would be like, babe, that needs to stop. And that was all he needed to say. That would stop. If a girl was being funny with him and I realized he was still spending too much time with her, I'd be like, honey, that's a red flag. You need to be careful. And that's it. So we were able to some level, keep each other accountable without being over. We're not over possessive. There was no time we ever told each other, you can't see that person or you can't talk to that person. We never say that to each other. We just kept each other accountable because now, as we were telling each other what's going on, we could both identify what was potentially going to be a problem. We could both identify what was potentially going to create issues in the relationship. So we were able to keep track of what's going on without it being toxic. So this is not me saying control your person. Please don't be weird. Don't be spooky. This is not me telling you to control your person. This is me saying be transparent. Transparency. Don't tell them things after they've happened. Don't tell them things because you think they might find out and you might be caught. This is you being transparent and being forthcoming without them asking, even if they will never ever have to know. It's you making sure that nothing can come back to haunt you. And trust is not just about long distance. The truth is, if you can't be faithful, whether they are there or you're not there, or they're not there, you will be unfaithful in either way. You will be they don't have to be miles away for you to be unfaithful. So trust is something that was very important for us when, as a long distance relationship couple. We had to ensure we guarded our spaces. We had to ensure that we didn't do something that would create a situation that would be very hard for us to come out of. Sometimes we would even sometimes call each other. So if maybe I was hanging out with someone and I started feeling like, I think it's becoming weird, I'd call him. So that would be me telling the person I'm with, someone is in my life. So if you hear me talking to my husband, you'd be like, okay, I get it. And then I'll be very upfront. I would be like, yes, I am in a serious relationship. I am in a relationship that is leading to marriage. We would be very upfront. We were very loud about our relationship, also as a way to protect our relationship. We didn't do it chini ya maji because there's an obsessiveness in a generation of where we want to hide. I don't know what we're hiding. And I'm not saying don't you overshare your relationship, but you need to be able to tell people, I'm dating somebody. This thing of, tuna date chini ya maji, no. What I see bangi, what's the future kama bangi? If you're dating somebody, you need to say, I'm dating somebody. You don't have to say what's happening in your relationship. You don't have to share with us every small detail about your dating life. However, it needs to be something everybody knows they are unavailable. You leaving a space where people are guessing, are they dating? Are they not dating? Is you keeping your options open. You're just trying to see, if I can keep this secret, maybe I can still find someone else. It's you, if you're being honest, that is you keeping your options open. If you're dating someone, acknowledge them publicly. Privacy is not hiding them. Privacy is you learning what goes public and what doesn't go public. We were able to go public without putting everything about our relationship out in the open. We didn't share every time we talked. We were not screenshotting all our video calls. We were not screenshotting all our conversations. We were not sharing everything in the world. However, everybody that cared to listen knew we were dating. And that for us was very important because it kept us safe. It kept us from being stupid. People would now ask us, you guys are dating. So if I was being funny, there would be someone who would ask me, you guys are dating. What are you doing? If he was funny, the people who would ask him, but you're dating Eva. What's going on here? You can't be funny. So that, to some level, kept us sane. It kept us grounded. It kept us from being foolish. Because the truth is, left to ourselves, we can all be very foolish. So if you trust yourself, you will do stuff, you'll be like, oh my God, who was that? Who be that? Then, I think long distance dating teaches you that being alone is not loneliness. Because there are a lot of people who are in relationships, even like they see each other every day, they spend time with each other, but they're very lonely. So we learn to be whole beings. We learn to enjoy the space, but still enjoy intimacy. We would enjoy being together without losing our individualism. I don't know if that makes sense. You can come and kizungumzito. I don't know if I'm using very big words, but we didn't lose. We could be together without us losing James and without us losing Eva. So I could celebrate who he was and encourage who he was without feeling like I need to change who he was. He could celebrate who I was and encourage who I was without feeling like he needed to change who I was. So we could enjoy being together without losing our individualism. Why that's been a really good thing is because that has taught us to appreciate that we don't have to always want the exact same things at the exact same time. And we can cheer each other on even if we're not pursuing the same thing. None of us has to stop pursuing what they're pursuing for the other person. That does not mean we don't have unity of purpose. It doesn't mean we don't have things we are doing together. It doesn't mean our being together is unaligned. We have agreed on what's important for us in different seasons. We've agreed what we are pursuing together in different seasons. However, even as we pursue what we are pursuing together, we've still left room for each other to pursue what is close to each other's heart. So he can pursue his dreams and I can happily support him without feeling like he needs to stop being him and start living my life. He can be happy for me and cheer me on without feeling like I need to leave who I am and start being who he is. So we are together without necessarily having to lose our individualism. We don't have to squash each other's dreams in the process of trying to pursue the same thing. We can appreciate each other's dreams. We can appreciate each other's differences. We can appreciate each other's ambitions and support each other while still being a couple. So that's one of the things that dating long distance, I think, taught us. It taught us to be a couple without trying to make the other person an extension of yourself. I think that's actually the most accurate thing I can say. So I'm not trying to make him a mini Eve. He's very, so my husband is very practical. He's very, he solves problems. He sees something that needs solving. He thinks of a solution. He solves it. He knows who to call. He knows where to get things. He's very street smart. He's very life smart. He knows almost, he can find someone to do almost everything. I'm very book smart. My way of thinking needs to be backed up by facts. It needs to be backed up by things that have been researched. I'm pragmatic, but not as, the way we solve problems is very different. I reason through problems. He solves problems. So, and that works for the both of us, because in some situations, some things are going on. I need the way he solves problems. I need the practical bit. I need someone to go there, find someone who can solve it, call the right person. That's what I need in that situation. Sometimes what he needs is how I solve problems. A well-reasoned out argument, a well-reasoned out kind of thinking. That's what he needs in some situations. So we are able to balance this out without having to tell each other, but the way you do things is not right. No, we don't. We don't have to make the other person feel like the way they handle life is wrong, or what they're trying to pursue is wrong. We just need to be able to know that sometimes I need the way you do life. Sometimes you need the way I do life. Sometimes my approach and your approach come together and they make some nice magic. So it's been knowing that you can be an individual, I can be an individual, but we are still working together towards a unified purpose. Does that make sense? Good. Social media. When you see people dating on social media, you see couples, sometimes that can make you feel like we are missing out on something. It can make you feel like what we have is not real. We don't have something as beautiful as they do, because we are not always playing pranks on each other. We're not always going on the expensive dates they are going on. We're not always doing the fun things they seem to be doing. And so it's very easy to look at couples online and think, I don't know if what we have is as good as what they have. But the truth is, and this is one of the things I've learned by us dating long distance, every love story is unique. And in the process of it, we found our way of making our little heaven down here. One of the things we do is Sunday afternoons, we don't do anything unless it's a matter of life and death. That's our date day. So we spend, after church, we spend our Sunday afternoons and evenings together. We laugh, we talk. Sometimes we are both cooking. Sometimes we are both watching a movie. We'll watch a movie at the same time. So Sunday afternoon is sacred for us. We've had times when we couldn't be in the same place for birthdays. And I remember, I think it was my birthday in 2024. He said, go sit at a restaurant. I'm going to go sit at a restaurant. I'm going to pay for what you will eat. And we'll both have a proper meal in a restaurant. And then we'll have a video call as we do that. And we did that. So we didn't have to be in the same place to do that. We went out and we had a date in separate restaurants, but we sat down and we had a really good laugh. We had a really good time. One of the things about it is that if you find us talking, we will have a good laugh. We enjoy each other's company thoroughly. So we've learned to make small adjustments. We've learned to tweak. We've learned to sometimes sit in the house and agree on what movie we are watching and watch the movie together. So we've learned to tweak and create our little heaven down here. That's me saying to you, you don't have to be the couple on TV. You don't have to be the couple on TikTok. You don't have to be the couple on Instagram. You don't have to be them. Find what works for you and create your little heaven down here. Don't let social media tell you what kind of a relationship you need to have. Don't let social media dictate what dating needs to look like for you. Create your own heaven. Create your own fantasy. Don't even do the things we are doing. We keep growing, we keep learning, we keep finding our ways. We keep finding the things that make our relationship feel better and come to life. But that's us. You need to find what works for you. What is it that makes your relationship special? And that's not just for the long distance, because one of the problems that people are having in dating today is that we are all trying to live someone else's relationship. So we are trying to be this couple. We are trying to be this couple. You're not them. And honey, 90% of social media is a lie. Big lie. So you need to find the things. And that's why I will say, don't date for social media. It's nice to post beautiful pictures. It's nice to say my person. However, let me tell you, we post our beautiful photos. We don't post our arguments. Oh, and they can be ugly. We don't post our bad days. We don't post the days when we are not feeling it. We don't post those days. When you look at us, you'd think these ones have never fought one day of their lives. But that's not true. That's a lie. So don't date for social media. Don't be too eager to get into a relationship to have someone to post online. It's part of the perks, but it's not the real thing. It's not the goal. Yeah. It's nice that on Valentine's someone can post you and say my wife or my girlfriend. It's nice. It's nice that on your birthday someone can go above and beyond for you. But it's nice that there are days that they're feeling I'm in love and I can post my husband, my wife, or my boyfriend. It's nice. However, there's more to a relationship than the things you see online. There's so much more. So don't go after the vanity and miss the real stuff. Don't miss what really matters in the relationship. Don't miss the beauty trying to chase the fake, the things. Nobody has a perfect relationship every day. Nobody. If anyone ever tells you they do, they are lying to you. It's a big lie. So please do not pursue the vanity. And especially if you're going to try and do a long distance relationship. As I'm coming to a close, one thing that is really hard about long distance dating is the goodbyes. Oh my goodness. The goodbyes will hurt. The goodbyes hurt. I think I've had to say goodbye. He's had to take me to the airport. The first time was not as bad because we weren't really dating. It was hard, but it wasn't as hard because we weren't really dating. We were just like two friends leaving each other. Two good friends leaving each other. But the second and the third time, I literally felt like something was being taken out of my heart, or like someone was pulling my heart out, stepping on it, and then putting it back broken. That was the most gutted. It was so hard. I remember like the first time I came, when I came for my Ivege, when you came for the Ivege, and then I came back for us to now plan the wedding, I wept. My mom looked at me. I think she felt depressed. I wept. And even after our wedding, because I think after our wedding, we were so distraught. We didn't even want anyone talking to us. Like, we were like, just leave us alone. I don't know why you guys keep bothering us. Leave us alone. I remember before we left, because we were living together, and then we went for dinner at my mom's house before I went to the airport. And before we left the house to go to my mom's place, we stood in the living room and we both really wept. So goodbyes are going to be hard. You need to prepare for that goodbyes are going to be hard. When I came back to the UK after our wedding, I think for the first 2 months, I'm getting emotional. For the first 2 months, I was so out of place. I kept feeling like nothing makes sense. It took me so long to adjust back after our wedding, because I was like, I don't know how to reconcile that I just got married and I've left my husband. Okay, I need to stop. I'm actually getting really emotional. I didn't know how to reconcile that I just got married and I'm leaving my husband. And I really struggled. The first 2 months were really difficult for me. It's not easier now. It's just that now it's an on and off kind of thing. So I have weeks, like last week was really difficult. I have weeks when it's really hard. And then I have weeks when I'm either quite busy or I'm better. But distance has a way of being an emotional roller coaster for you. It can be very hard on you emotionally. It's very hard to just be away from the person you love. And you need to prepare for that. You need to have a good support system for that. So when I'm feeling really hard, so yesterday I called my mom and we had a 2-hour conversation and we talked at length. So that is very healing for me. Sometimes I call my brother. Sam is an amazing support system for me, and we're able to talk quite at length. I've had people I'm able to talk to. I have friends I'm able to talk to, and so I have a good support system. So when my heart is feeling like this is a bit too much to handle, I have a support system that is able to hold me together. So that's one of the uglies of long distance, that you are not prepared for how the distance takes an emotional toll on you. Nobody prepares you for the goodbyes. Nothing prepares you. And you think, I've done it once, I'll be fine the next time. No, it gets harder each time. So the goodbyes are really hard. The goodbyes are difficult. You will feel like someone is literally grabbing your heart out and stepping on it. It's really hard. It's a different kind of grief. Because you're not grieving, they're not gone. You know you'll see them again. So it's not a grief of I've lost them. It's a grief of you're not going to be there when I wake up tomorrow. And I had gotten used to seeing you every time I woke up in the morning. So it's that kind of grief. It's a very different kind of grief that I don't think anybody really talks about. And so that's something you need to prepare for when it comes to long distance dating. But I will say it works. It works. We got married. We are happy. We're not unhappy. We are happy. We enjoy each other's company. We have amazing. We laugh a lot with each other. We spend a lot of time together. We literally are the couple that talks to each other the entire evening. Our phones are left on call. More often than not, we sleep on call with each other. So we spent a good amount of time with each other. We enjoy each other's company thoroughly. We love each other's company. We love our conversations. We love our inside jokes. We enjoy when people tell one of us, I'm telling you this, but don't tell your spouse. Because the first thing we do as soon as you hang up is to call our spouse and tell them, nimeambiwa nisikuambie, I've been told not to tell you, and then we tell each other what you've told us not to tell the other person. So please don't bother. Stop telling us not to tell each other, because we will tell each other what you told us. We will definitely tell them what you told us. So we enjoy those conversations where you tell us not to tell each other things. We have amazing conversations, and this has in a way it's shaped us. It's made us appreciate proximity. A lot of people, a couple that we know was saying they look forward to when they need to work away from each other, and we kept saying you don't understand the value of proximity until you don't have it. So for us, proximity is very precious for us. We know the value of being together. It's very special for us that. So when we have the moments to be together, we value those moments. We spend those moments. Every single minute counts for us. So we've come to really value what it means to be together. So if you ask me, is it worth it? I will say, are you ready to put in the work? Are you ready to be intentional? Are you ready to be trustworthy? Are you ready to face the things that come with distance? If you are, it is very worth it. If the person you are dating is the right person for you, it is extremely worth it. Nothing should ever stop you from being with the person you love. So if you feel like that's a thing you want to explore, yeah, go for it. However, it will not work by chance. It will not be something that happens by magic. You will have to work for it. You will have to put in the work. But it is not impossible. We are evidence that it is not impossible. It is not, it doesn't have to be full of betrayal and pain. It doesn't have to be full of drama. It is possible. It is doable. It is possible to actually have a beautiful, healthy, long distance relationship or marriage. So I hope that this gets to help somebody. I hope that, and generally some of the things I've said are things we can be able to all apply. I'm not an expert when it comes to love and dating. To be honest, it's been a very big learning curve for us. However, I've always said that your small lived experiences can build someone else's experience. So someone needs the little experience I have. I have benefited from someone listening to people who have had their own lived experiences. You don't have to replicate my story. You don't have to pick everything from my story. But somehow, maybe one or two things I have said will help you make better choices, better decisions, and build a healthy relationship, whether long distance or whether you guys are close to each other. And as usual, I never finish my videos without praying for us. I pray that we'll have a beautiful week. Please date intentionally. I pray that one of my biggest prayer for us as a generation is that we'll stop making dating a game. We'll stop making dating something we do for fun. That we'll actually only head into that space if we really want to be together. Because so many of us are broken. So many of us have wounds that will take so long to heal because we are making dating like a picky ponke game. Yeah, I'm going to get into this to see if it works. Don't get into it to see if it works. If you're not getting into it to make it work, don't get into it, because it involves emotions. It involves people's hearts. Don't get into it as a game. That's one of the things I would say to us as a generation, that if you're going to date, get into it with the intention that if it depends on me, this will work. If everything depends on me, that should be our resolve, all of us, that if everything depends on you, if it's up to you, this will work. If it doesn't work and you did your best, that's fine. However, make sure that it doesn't fail to work because you didn't do your best. And I pray that we can have wholesome, godly, and beautiful love stories, because love and marriage is the one thing that mirrors how God relates to us. And I think that's why it's very close to God's heart, because it really mirrors our relationship with God. God calls us the bride of Christ. And that's what the Bible calls us, that we are the bride of Christ as the church. So marriage was meant to be a picture of our relationship with God as a church. So I pray that we can be faithful partners. We can be healthy partners. I'm going to be talking about taking agency of our emotional lives. And one of the things I'll be talking about is, are you a healthy person? Are you healthy emotionally? So I hope that we can be able to work on ourselves, so that when we meet the person who comes into our lives, they won't meet an unhealthy person. They won't meet a toxic person. They'll meet someone who can actually be a beautiful part of their lives. So allow me to pray for you as we close this video. Daddy, thank you for the conversation we've had today. Thank you because, Lord, love was designed by you. Love is your design. It is your purpose. It is your intention. You intend for us to have wholesome, beautiful relationships. Thank you for everybody that has watched this video. Someone who is trusting you for love, for marriage, for relationship. Lord, may you help them to only be able to see the right person. And as they find the right person, may they love them correctly. May they come whole, healthy. May they work on themselves, Lord, even as they pursue love. May they heal the parts of them that need to heal. Help them, Lord, to be able to even trust you and consult you as they make that decision. I pray that as we begin this week, it shall be a week of victory, a week of blessing, a week of prosperity, a week of favor. This week, may whoever we meet, may they be pleased to do as well. We give you praise and we give you honor. In Jesus' mighty name we pray and believe. Amen and amen. Please keep sharing the videos, keep subscribing, keep liking, keep commenting. I would like to know, what would you like to hear? If you have any questions, send them my way. I'd be happy to address the questions. If you feel like there's something more you'd have wanted to hear about this conversation, please let me know. I'm happy to get into it. If you want to know more about long distance dating, if there's anything you feel like, I wish she talked about this and she didn't talk about it, let me know. I'm happy to come back to this conversation. It's a lot of things to say. I'm really trying to keep my videos short. So it's a lot of things to talk about in one session. So there could be something you really hoped I would talk about and I didn't talk about it. Let me know. I'm happy to circle back into this into this conversation and keep talking about the things we want to hear. I don't know everything, but I know that I could probably help on one thing or the other. So have a lovely week. God bless you, and may He do you well. Goodbye.